our topic for today is about how we can make lifelong clients. Who doesn't want that in business, right? So, no matter what industry you're in, the strategy that I'm going to share with you works universally. Okay. It's a strategy that has to be built at the very start when you're just trying to figure out what your business model will be, etc. Or if you're like here or right now in 2025, you're trying to restart your business because it didn't work very well the last few years. So that's fine too. And calibrate it as you go through your journey as an entrepreneur, okay, serving your clients. It's important to first talk about why making lifelong clients is so critical in business. And by lifelong, we mean for as long as your business runs, or at the very least, depends on the sales cycle you have, 3 years, 4 years or 10 years. We want our clients to stay for as long as we want them to. Okay, again, for as long as we want them to stay. The key phrase there is, we want. Why? Because sometimes in reality, and for you who have been running entrepreneurship for quite some time now, there would be clients who would come through the door of our business and or who we will later regret bringing in. Often we only realize that they're not the right fit after we've already made the sale. All right. And that will always happen to any entrepreneur. They may be rude, or they fail to pay on time or lack commitment to themselves. So they're not also putting in their share of the pie. So working with the people like that can be challenging and draining. Do you agree? But let me tell you, the way these issues that I've shared with you, having clients who you don't really like to be in your business can actually be averted. You shouldn't be having these issues if what? You have a solid brand strategy that targets your dream customer precisely. You have a branding that exudes authority so you don't get pushed around by clients. And I didn't have this high D or high dominance at first when I started the business, but being married to one, for you all who knows Michael Blanding, he's very high D, and you become eventually the person you marry. So now I would say I'm very high D. I'm very high D. I'm very high S. You can take DISC to understand where you are. But that's important for where I am right now as a parent and as a business owner, because I don't want to be pushed around. And that includes your personal branding, right? You have to be a person with authority when you're in entrepreneurship. And, if you have very clear terms of conditions in your documents with your clients or a service level agreement that your clients actually read, then there shouldn't be a lot of problems in terms of unmet expectations. And another tip is your onboarding process should be very solid, that it clarifies your expectations of your clients and their expectations of you. All right. So we won't talk about these things during the session, but we could in the next ones if you say, okay, I want to learn more about, branding, or how do I evoke authority in my communications, etc. Because it's really NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a lot of that I've also studied, for this line of work. Okay. So again, why keep clients for as long as possible? Client retention is always cheaper than client acquisition. Okay. Retention is to keep, acquisition is to get. It applies to new clients. Data has shown how much more expensive for any business or entrepreneur to keep looking for new clients. The cost of acquiring a new client is typically, guess what, 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining existing clients. And this is from, various studies. You can look it up, ChatGPT it. But the one that I'm referring to is from Bain and Company and Harvard Business Review. And when your costs are high, remember, in business, costs should include your time, your cost of time. Your business has a harder time earning profits, correct? Because revenues, what you earn, has to always be bigger, okay, than what you spend in totality. Again, including your time. You should be, I talked about this in my November session, if I'm not mistaken. When you're just starting, or especially when you've been in, entrepreneurship for quite some time, you should put in your financial documents, I mean, in your accounting sheet, an amount for your salary, even if it's just a very small amount. Why? Because you should get first into a practice of paying yourself from the very start. You can read the book Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. His surname is pronounced not in the same way it's spelled, Mike Michalowicz, but just Google Profit First, and it will just change your mind, especially when you're a new entrepreneur. You have to take a salary from the very start, because you'll get to a point when you lose motivation because you're not getting anything, right? Again, I come from that field. I was giving so much, not getting anything in return. And you have to sustain your own motivation, because profits will not come right away. So what will you be earning from your business? Salary, even if it's just $100, mark it out, reserve that for yourself. Anyway, so that's a side note, but very important side note. And so what's left under or after you deduct all your expenses from your revenue, simple math or business accounting, is your profit, correct? And profit, not revenue, is king in business. Revenue is artificial. You could be earning, $20,000 a month, but then if your cost for people and your time, is 25, then you basically did not earn anything. You're on a deficit. All right. And profit is what will allow us to build wealth and legacy. You see how I connected that, right? So don't get me wrong here, client acquisition is, of course, important. Why? Because you're not going to be able to launch your business without new clients, right? So at the start, it's really client acquisition. Okay, so we can talk about that again at another session. But for now, especially for those who have been in business, think about client retention, potentially as your next strategy, okay? Or your year's, New Year's strategy. All right. So then once again, I repeat, retain them. All right. So what are the costs involved in acquiring new clients? For many of us, what we might not be seeing are these phantom costs. Okay. So for everyone else, this might be you. If you're asking for referrals, which is one of the most potent go-to-market strategies for new businesses, right? You're asking for referrals from, let's say, friends or existing clients. So wouldn't you have to give them some sort of like an incentive? If you already are running your business and you have clients, to get referrals from clients, you sort of would need to give them an incentive. So for us in our business, we do, because if you don't, it's really very difficult to get that response or action from them. You can just be saying, okay, can you refer us? But they won't really do it unless they're the type who, put action to their words, right? If you're asking friends or people for referrals, so how do you usually do it, especially when you're just starting, or if you're going to start, this is probably how it will go. You go on LinkedIn or Instagram, whatever your product is, wherever your, target customers are, you go there, message people one by one, email people one by one, because, one-on-one is more effective than just sending an email blast. I agree. And once you start that conversation, you're also having to do small talks, right? They invite you for a meal because they're like so glad that you finally reached out to them. So, they invite you, then you say yes, because they could be the one who can bring referrals to you. So you go on a professional date, then they sell you something instead of you selling to them. So you buy to build goodwill. Then you keep up the conversation once again, because maybe they'll finally realize that you're actually asking for referrals. So, and this is what happens when you're just not overtly or very clear about your intentions, right? So if this has happened to you, don't let it keep happening to you. As a side note, because there is something that we've tried and tested, and a lot of other successful businesses or entrepreneurs have tried and tested, that will help you get clients, even cold ones, more quickly than that way, because your time is so precious, especially if you have kids, if you have family, or even if you're just dating, you would rather spend all of those social time with them, right? It's also energy. See, time and energy, it's so much. When we're talking about costs here, you're also talking about mental alertness that you're spending for that prospect or referee. So there's just so many, like I said, phantom costs involved. And of course, when you start doing marketing, right? When you're far in the game, you're doing ads, paid ads to acquire new clients. You're doing events as a funnel. We'll talk about funnel or funnels throughout our coaching sessions. I mean, the next one. So these are involving a lot of costs. So if you're networking, same thing, right? You attend an event and then another. And if it's a ticketed event, it just becomes very expensive, right? I believe in business, every single person that comes in through our door should really receive that warm, wild welcome. Because I got stuck also in that kind of thinking that, oh, my social media only has X number amount of followers. And then I saw an Instagram account or Instagram growth expert who was saying in visuals, did you say you got 10 likes for your post? This is what it means. And he showed a photo of 10 people standing in the room. You got 50 likes? Photo of 50 people standing in the room. You get what I mean? So I have to really feel and honor every single person who's coming into the business. And, congratulations, Annabelle, because she's doing actually all of that while being a corporate executive, right? So kudos to you. And hopefully this session will be very helpful in designing, again, that model that can retain all these people attending your events. So again, thank you. All that to say, client acquisition is important, but to survive in business first, then to thrive, that's our goal eventually, you have to keep these clients for as long as you want them to stay once you acquire them. Retain, retain, retain. Okay, so now we're clear about the importance of retaining clients, right, that you've acquired. It's time to talk about that strategy that will help them become long-time fans. Okay, are you ready? Introducing the value ladder. Okay, some business consultants or experts would call this the customer success ladder. Some call it the ascension path. Whatever you call it, the idea is the same. And once you get the idea, after I talk about it, it's really the implementation that will all matter. Okay, so how does this value ladder concept work? Okay, it's best planned through a visual like this one. Literally, you draw a staircase or a ladder. The number of steps here should be maximum 5, ideally 4. And you'll learn later on, once you're implementing this in your business, why that is so. The idea of a value ladder is that your customer, okay, every customer gets more and more value from you as they pay you more and more. Okay, simple. More value, more money that you bring in. And of course, the implementation is more than that. It needs careful and deliberate planning. That's why ideally you have this at the start of your journey. If you don't have it yet, then it's a good time to draw up something. Ideally, your business is making the most amount of money all the time from every single client. Okay, I'll give you an example. For one of our brands, the Collective Asia, we charge our clients a minimum of 39,000. Where's my calculator? Okay, 39,000 in the course of 12 months. Okay, so they get monthly support through what? VAs, marketing, support, etc. And then in that highest tier program, basically it's this highest rung. They pay also an additional 9,800 for us to set up for them a client acquisition system. And then on top of that, we charge them 10% on contracts worth $15,000 because we're working with SMEs whose clients are either industrial companies or like big money clients, or the clients of our clients. So if they're able, or we are able to close a deal with them, meaning we get on calls with their prospects on their behalf, like Joanna Blanding becomes a closer for them, for, let's say, this creative agency called Outer Edit. You can look them up. We love them. They love us. They actually have this magnificent installation at Millennial Walk, creative agency. And for us to close the likes of Buntongi for them, or even F1, we will be doing the calls because they're very creative, but sales is not really their strongest suit. So we come in as like their BD people, but on commission, on top of what they're already paying, like I've said, right? That's not exactly what they're paying, it's higher. So you can imagine, that's really a lot of money. That if I am meeting a new potential client for the first time who doesn't know me, okay, and I chat that person up on LinkedIn and tell him, hey, cold call, this is what we're offering, this is what I can do for you. It's, it starts at 50,300. Do you think that person will right away say yes to me? It's going to be hard. But actually, we've done that just because I've been trained on high ticket closing. But it's like a skill that you have to grow after many calls, going on role play, etc. Invest in, a very great coach. I could, but it's hard. It's harder. Okay. And for those who are not confident in closing what we call high ticket sales, right? Contracts like this in SMEs and MNC enterprise contracts, it's almost impossible. So how can we seal deals with clients who we can get a ton of money from? Like I said, I'll be talking about money a lot here, who we can get a lot of money from, right? As we give them a ton of value without scaring them away. We take them through the value ladder, step by step by step, okay? But of course, there would be instances, especially at the start, where you just have to start with your mid-ticket, meaning how many steps are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4 in my illustration. It's if you're starting, because you need to bring in the money right away, okay? You can start with whatever you're offering on the third rung of this ladder. Why? And that means you just really have to be very good at closing that sale. It could be a friend. You start with that. It could be someone who really trusts you already, because trust is very important when we're still starting in business. Actually, the whole time we're in business, right? Why? That will be your initial capital if you don't have your own capital. Because like what you'll see later on, the low ticket offers that will bring you the mass will need a lot of marketing money. Will need a lot of time for you to create those. But again, they will give you the mass. They will give you the volume. Okay. So to better illustrate this, I went ahead and came up with an example, which is for my sister here, Bianca, who runs on top of her very busy corporate job, all right, a dance studio in Taytay, Rizal. It's called Next Door. So when we're looking at a value ladder, it could be in different versions, right? We test, because what could be working for Bianca right now honestly may not be working in the long run when you are trying to get to the next level of profitability, okay? And again, I would always challenge business owners to really be very deliberate and accurate in terms of how they do their accounting, because if you skip accounting for all the capital that you've put in, then you're not being true to the profitability of your business, right? Because you have to be recovering that given your timeline for yourself. If you say, okay, in 3 years' time, I should be recovering this. So that's just one tip. Because like I know of we work with at any single time at least 30 clients very deeply into their accounts, from business modeling all the way to operations. All right. And so we understand, like they would say, oh, it's actually earning profits, which is good if it is true. And then we try to dive into their numbers and we're like, but you spent this last year as retained earnings, your retained earnings you spent, but you didn't really account for it. So first, that's not good accounting, and you're not giving yourself a salary. And then and then all these things you're accounting as personal expense because you don't want the profitability of your business to go down. Everything that is contributing to your business should be accounted for as a business expense to get a realistic picture of how it is really doing. So anyway, that's just a side note, but again, the idea of value ladder is to bring scale to your business, growth, right? So it could be trial classes, it could be something, it could be, so for Donna's or Bianca's business, what has been working is what I would call JVs, joint ventures. And this is nothing to do with signing a formal contract with people. It's really just partnerships. You're a coach, you have the following. Okay, I'll bring you in, I'll give you the business, you bring your following. And that's, for the coaches, it's free for them. They actually earn from getting into the studio. And then how do you take them? Your first, again, this is just an example. You can iterate this. Could be packages for 10 classes, etc. This is also what like tuition centers here in Singapore do, right? Packages. Here's like, of course, I'm not in the business, but I always have clients who are totally outside of the clientele description that we gun for. We've had tuition centers at the start, artists, etc. It could be, on top of selling the packages, imagine yourself being in the shoes, in the mind of your target customer. What would they want? They probably attended a class and they were so rusty. They went through that 1 hour class and they still couldn't get the choreography. I was like that in my, back in the day. I'm like, I still didn't get the choreography. A video that they get of the choreographer breaking it down step by step by step, which they can take home and just, view. So it's almost like a web-based app. It doesn't even have to be a formal app, but it could just be a Google Drive with the videos of that choreography that they learned in class. Plus, you know how, especially the Gen Zs, would love them or themselves being on Instagram doing that dance. What if you hire a freelance photographer or videographer during the class, or even someone who's just training who you can feed, for a meal, and they're trying to put together their portfolio. Hey, come and take photos of this person, because they have a special privilege from, the package that they bought, and you can charge a premium for that. And for those who are trying to really get good at their craft, one-on-one dance coaching, an exclusive VIP invitation to the coach's performance at this, stage on this, da, 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 da. So you get where I'm going. Again, this is not like, okay, please do this. This is how, just to show you, the more you give your clients, of course, the more you can ask from them. And the mindset that you're going to break here is that, oh, they already bought from me. Oh my gosh, this is like the mindset that really almost killed my business. And those who have been in the business for a very long time and have succeeded have told me this. A client or a customer will continue to buy from you again and again and again and again for as long as you're selling to them. Okay? Why? They're just waiting for you to sell to them. Of course, in a glamorous way, not salesy, but all those impression of, oh, I don't want to be salesy. Actually, you don't have to even bother. You don't have to worry, because once they're in your trust circle of trust, you can just ask them anything. I have another training with my team that maybe I can, share with you, the power of just asking. Because I realized, my team members would focus on just this solution for their clients when we have 10 others that we're offering. Why? They never asked if they need, clients need this. They, at first, they were not asking for referrals. I'm like, they trust you. I just got a message from one of your clients saying, oh my gosh, Shane is such a miracle worker. Da, da. And then I was like, she's so happy about your work, your service. What have you asked in return? It's always my game plan now. You tell me that I did you well. Now I'm asking something from you in return. In most of my relationships, why? Because it's also a way for me to be humble. It sounds like I'm bragging, right? But actually, when we're scared to ask, we're actually losing that idea that something I need is from the other person. It's the other person is in possession of what I need. If I don't ask, then I'm telling myself that actually I can produce it myself. No, I cannot. Right. So again, that's just a side note. I hope, that's something that you can remember when you're trying to ask for referrals, for testimonials. Okay, testimonials are very potent in acquiring new clients. Okay, I have another example here. Okay, what time is it? 12:47. For the caller analysis service, you might be doing this already, Annabelle, but if I were to run this business, again, to get to a scale, I'll put out there on my landing page on my website an interactive quiz. Why? Because they're Gen Zs, right? Interactive quiz, or even like, play this video, or you'll get a download of this video of me talking about, if you put in your email, what is that? It's a funnel, it's a landing page. And I know all of you, like some of you, you don't have that landing page yet. Like, what is it? That page that basically collects emails, because on social media, you don't own the assets there. You don't own the people who are on your social media feed, right? Or your followers. So, but emails will stay, at least for now, as the key to getting to the mind of your clients. So, interactive quiz on your funnel page. Basically, it's a web page, right? Which has a very good hook, a story, an offer. And by offer, it's really literally a call to action. Put your email here and I'll, so you can run this quiz. Da, da, da. Put your email here so you can play the rest of the video. Put your email here so you can get this PDF. For the marketers here, Soleil probably knows this already. Next is your one-time caller analysis group session events. Why? Because you need PR. Some of the things that we do, we just need to do them even when they're tedious. Why? Because you need some branding materials. I'm doing this even if it's, it's what? It's tedious, because of course I love offering value, but really what I'm going to ask for next is a testimonial from you on video about my coaching, right? See, value, I ask. What else? Referrals, actually, we don't need much referrals because we're going to run ads. And actually, my target audience for what I'm going to sell in the end is for freelancers, creatives, and freelancers. So not really plenty of you. Again, thank you for being my guinea pigs, in terms of coaching and running sessions like this. Again, that's my ask. Another ask later on in the end, you'll hear about it. So the event for Annabelle is so potent, even if it probably would not drive so much dollars, because she can take videos of herself talking to a crowd. And that's always a very great marketing media. You talking to a group, and this is always my tactic. When I'm at an event, I make sure my photographer takes a photo of me with certain people who are my dream advocates. What do I mean by that? Okay, I held an event. I pull in this person who has, what's her name? Lumen, who has the connection and the influence over all these sustainable brands. Once you tag her on Instagram, of course, all her followers, the businesses see you as well. That's when, just from one event, I gained more attention from the people, the end consumers who I really want to talk to. Again, that's partnership, right? That's a strategy you can also try. From that event, of course, signups are there. You already know their emails. Nurture emails every week. Send a valuable content, whatever that is, just to warm them up. And honestly, people don't read all these emails. But if they keep seeing your email address in the inbox, they remember you, right? So when it's time for them and they're ready, they choose you. 6-month etiquette program, maybe featuring stylists, personal brands. This is what I mean about JVs. For many of us, we're like, oh, but that's not my skill set. I'm not gonna sell that. Do you realize that all my businesses are offering stuff that are not my skill set? So who am I partnering with? My 20 creatives and freelancers. I'm basically brokering their what? Their talents and skills. Why? I'm addressing their pain point of not being good at getting clients, but I'm good at getting clients. All right. I'm not good at ads. I brought in my grade school classmate who is already running his agency. He's got masters. He bumped me off the top, the honors list when we were in grade school. He's really, very excellent. But he needs clients. He needs consistent clientele. And I'm like, yeah, I sit at one event, I get a client. I sit at a discussion, I get a client, also because I had got trained in like a non-salesy way of closing. And so I'm selling practically his services. I'm not doing things for clients anymore in our agency. So that could be for Annabelle or for Soleil here. You bring in the people who will actually serve. For George, it could be, a landing page, starting with a landing page with really just a valuable content about why do you need to plan for your life financially, right? So he's, our financial planner. Just get emails. And then next would be whatever roundtable or, small event. Um, and my examples are coming from all the FAs that Shannon Go has trained over the years, and it's effective for them. Roundtable or even a Zoom webinar. A webinar is still effective, apparently, it turns out, for FAs and realtors. So, you just give value, and then you make them sign up for a one-on-one, right? And then that one-on-one is where you lay out a plan for them. I don't know in the FA world here in Singapore if you can like charge for a consulting fee, but I think not. So it's really from the contracts or insurance and investments that you close. But basically, it's building your email list that you can talk to all the time, that when they're ready and you follow up with them, they come back to you and say, okay, you've really built that rapport with me. Now I want to do a one-on-one with you. And then you bring in your A game in terms of, closing. And then there's always a follow-up after. What is that next? Da, da, da. So some of the FAs that we've seen in the community, they're actually bringing in other experts that would complement what they are providing. So it could be, some of them, of course, you won't do that, like a feng shui expert or something. It was funny. What is that for us Christians, right? But they're like, oh my gosh, that's like captive market because it's about wealth also, right? Like they're doing all these feng shui thing because they want to accumulate wealth and or protect their wealth. And so for these attendees of a feng shui talk, their next purchase would be a plan. So I'll show you a little bit of what we do in the company. Weekly group coaching, like I've said, is the entry level, right? And I have a book that I give away. I don't even like sell my books anymore. But actually, what will fuel the mass, because Wealth and Legacy Builders, our brand, is for freelance creatives and VAs. Why? Because my business runs with two engines: the providers of the service and my clients who these will service. It's like Uber drivers and the passengers. So I'm taking care of both, right? And that's why I don't need to hire people, because look at what I'm doing. I'm bringing them in to pay to work for me. And this is a contrarian way of working things. Why? Because if you hire in the traditional model, we will die very soon. Why? You'll put in, a head of human resources, operations. These are all costs. But what if you bring in the freelancers and you have this very specific skill set that they would want to latch on, whatever that is, that they would want to work for you, and basically you get a portion of the contracts that they are making, right? So for us, they're paid hourly, plus they have profit shares, So chat, Lorraine, Jules is also one of my, uh, uh, editors, video editors. She comes to me because we can fill up her time, but she can bring in, she can run her own agency as well, right? Now, for these freelancers, what are we going to do with them after they've done or gone through a webinar? Okay, it's fueled by ads. I go for 1.5 hours talking about mindset shift, and a pitch, a strong pitch in the end. I take them to sign up for our groundbreaker program. What is that? It's a 3-month course and coaching program, which can also be something that we iterate for business people like you, non-freelancer or creatives, because the systems, like I said, are the same. Okay, so you let me know if this is something interesting for you. A 3-month course and coaching to help, these solopreneurs own their collective. Basically, run something that is sustainable like what we've built. And then at the same time, if they are freelancers, they get access to the Opportunity Hub, which pays basically its projects that we can give them so they can pay for the course fee, right? So I'm thinking, how can I bring them in by addressing right away their potential? I don't have enough money for that because we're going to charge high. Then we give them projects to work on, right? Again, instead of employing them, I'm bringing them in, paying me, and then I give them work, right? And they learn from me. So at the end of that, program, they will say, I've launched my own collective. I'm calling it the collective because an agency, the word agency has a bad connotation, burnt out, you're on the agency owner doesn't profit because it's like very slim profitability, yada, yada. So it's a collective that will allow me to achieve unlimited financial growth through freedom and legacy building, and then getting access to new projects and clients. And then we take them to a notch higher. And basically people in our team are already getting to that program. We charge monthly for what? A hybrid franchise program that gives these graduates of our groundbreaker program ready to access or use systems, small group and one-on-one coaching, white labeled templates that they can sell in their own agencies, and a client acquisition support. Right. So, I mean, these are, very technical probably and could only be well understood by agency owners, but this is what we've built. And for our SMEs, it's basically we start with, a growth strategy session, and I'm literally not selling to them. I'm giving a lot of value for 145 minutes. And then I close them for our monthly support, minimum of 6 months at the start. And then we transition them to 12 months. That's client retention, right? Client continuity is very important. If they are not ready, then we give them like this trailblazer content. You see how the other brand is downselling, is selling to them as well. And then we're on this already. We have clients who are paying us commissions plus monthly fees for client support, client acquisition support. And we have clients also who are getting personal assistance from us, and this is how we elevate them. Anyway, might not be important right now, but the key here is retention through continuity. Does your business have a model to make the flow of money continuous? I'll end in 10 seconds. Continuity means membership, subscription, whatever that is. For FAs, again, it might not be, actually continuity is literally that. Just keep the policies running and that, right? Then that's continuity. For everyone else, Annabelle, it has to be some form of membership, because once they get to your program and they leave, in Filipino sayang, that it's a waste of your effort, right? You want to take them to something that will be continuous. Partner with an app, that you get a portion of that app that's related to your industry. Retention through joint ventures. And this is my last appeal. Apart from asking for testimonials from you later on after a few more coaching sessions that you attend, really go to Generations Home. I'll send you the link. It's the charity that we support, and you can donate whatever you feel is the value of this coaching session. Again, see how what I'm doing here. Instead, the 20% that I have a portion, that's partly the money that we are generating from the effort that we're putting out there. It could be this, right? Of course, the 20% usually is more than 20% when we give. So that's how we build the value, the amount that we commit to the charities. So all that to say, I wish you well in terms of creating that continuity or retention program for your clients or for your future businesses. All right. I don't want to hold you up for longer, but you can say clear, ask, meaning you have questions that you can ask, you want to ask me, let's chat on email. Yeah, and I'd love to, help you tweak whatever value ladder you're already designing for yourself.